Hello, everybody. I had a very beautiful exchange with my buddy, my close friend, a Fulani gentleman. The Fulani people are one of the Arab peoples of Nigeria, are one of the peoples that are related very closely to the Arabs that live in Nigeria. This Fulani gentleman, we've been friends for a long time and good friends at that. He started this conversation by stating that he agrees that there is a genetic connection between the Igbo people and the Jews, and that he's aware that majority of Igbos believe that this connection exists, but that he wants to know if the Jewish people accept or see this relationship the way the Igbo people see it. I decided that his question deserves a robust response, because the world is a village. Ultimately, peace between Israelis and Arabs in the Levant may gain some impetus from peace between Israelites, that is the Igbos, and Arabs, that is the Fulanis, in Nigeria. So I made up my mind to be as illustrative as I could be within the small space that Facebook allows us to attend to important issues, and I'll read my response. I said, Al-Hajj is a Muslim who has been to Mecca. My friend has been to Mecca not once, not twice, not 3 times, many times. Thank you for such an important question. The answer will be relatively long. Prior to maybe the year 2000, I don't know if any Igbo person seriously doubted that Igbos and Jews were kinsfolk. Frankly, I did not meet Igbos that doubted that Igbos and Jews were related. And I don't know why an Igbo would doubt them. The most educated Igbos, the most worldly, the most well-connected, people like Michael Okpara, people like Honorable Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the founding father of Nigeria, they all put it down in writing that Igbos had connections with the Israelites. So there was no Igbo that was in doubt. I grew up knowing we came from Israel. I'm talking about myself now. In my family, it was an oral tradition. I began my research, which has produced 21 books, not necessarily to prove that the Igbos came from Israel, but to document Omenana, that is Igbo culture and religion, so that Igbos who had become alienated from it and no longer see it as religion. This is important. Most Nigerians think that Christianity and Islam are the only religions in the world. This is a consequence of the Muslim and British connections to Nigeria. The Sokoto Caliphate, which was also the Fulani Empire, dominated a large section, conquered and dominated a large section of northern Nigeria, which became the strongest part of Nigeria. So in other words, you could say that the Fulanis also colonized a part of northern Nigeria, and then the British colonized the whole of Nigeria. So the religions of these two powers became the dominant religions in Nigeria, and they sort of became the quasi recognized religions. So you find the most educated Nigerians, very well educated Nigerians, betraying that they think that outside Christianity and Islam there are no religions. So I explained that I'll repeat, I began my research not necessarily to prove that we came from Israel, but to document menana, so that Igbos who had become alienated from it and no longer see it as religion, but only see Islam and Christianity as religions, will be able to return to the Igbo religion. You may be aware that by British design, colonial British, most Nigerians mistakenly think that only Christianity and Islam are real religions and that their own religions are merely traditions, or that is when they want to be kind. When they want to be unkind, they see their own religions as paganism or idolatry. So I will say that until recent times, every Igbo didn't have a problem knowing that Igbos were Israelites and we are accordingly related to Jews. About Jews and the same question, we will now get into what do Jews think of all this. I will say that before 1966, many Jews, especially in Israel, knew that they and the Igbos were related. The Eastern Region government of Nigeria, which was Igbo-led, and the state of Israel had a special relationship. When I say special relationship, well, let us keep on and you will see some of the things I mean. But their knowledge of this was not as deep as that of the Igbos, because they were part of the white world that didn't really understand that they and black peoples could be related. It's not so long ago that peoples that came out of Europe began to realize that they were related to the peoples in, quote, the dark continent. I've done enough deep studies on this to know this. So even though many Jews thought that Igbos and themselves were very similar in culture, yet they still saw Igbos as blacks and Africans. In other words, the Jews would say these people are like us, they are behaving like us, they are very close to us, but the Africans, they are blacks. They are Cushis, as people say in Israel. And I went on to say, I'm not as detailed as I can be. There is very deep history that only very few Jews and present-day Igbos know anything about. A little bit of it can help. Before Igbos suffered tragedy in Nigeria and Biafra and became more disorganized and unattractive as partners, there was a time Igbos and Israelis planned for all Igbos and Jews aged 10, 11 to connect in a program called 10-10-11. I got this information right inside the Israeli embassy in Lagos. I don't know the program of Israelis and Better Israel then, if any. This came in because my Fulani Arab friend wanted to know if Jews see Igbos the way they see the Better Israel. After the great tragedy, genocide, Igbos became more disorganized, disorderly, and even nihilistic and anarchic. The genocide was not healed, was not even acknowledged. So traumatized, at a stage, the people began to, the society became disorganized. Well, let's continue. They gradually stopped building their society and began to build institutions and structures that don't necessarily belong to them, and if truth be told, are sometimes working against them. I learned a very important lesson in Abuja. When I published the Igbos Jews in Africa, I told one wealthy man who picked interest in the book, get your friends together and let us launch this book. He said, your book should be in every home. But my wealthy friends would not respond. I said, why wouldn't they respond? He said, Igbos don't respond to Igbo cries again. They respond to Christian cries. And because Igbos stopped investing in themselves, their society kept on imploding and exploding. And who wants to carry dead weight? The archives are filled with information about the connections between the Igbos and the Jews via the state of Israel. But after 1970, you needed to be an angel to want to align with the Igbos. And Israel had its own problems. Until recently, it was surrounded by enemies. So to cleave to a people who were also in deeper trouble, Israelis needed to be angels to do that. So the relationship became very cold. And over time, the Israelis themselves began to forget this relationship. I know they began to forget it. Only very few people would live on books as I do. Every week I read 3 books. I know that most Israelis don't read 3 books every month, and relevant books at that. So they did not know that there was a time that the Israelis saw Igbo land as a second home. And I believe that my friend was getting the response served hot. But however, I continued. Very serious people with visionary intelligence in the Jewish and in the Igbo communities are doing something about that relationship. Dr. Daniel Lee is a Swiss Israeli. He published a book in which he practically told any Jew anywhere who had doubts that the Igbo people came from Israel to go right back to the drawing board, because the evidence is, as we would as lawyers say, impeccable. The book is on Amazon. It was his PhD dissertation. And in 2022, a Sephardic Bet Din led by a rabbi with a PhD. Only very few people come with this kind of background. The rabbi is, by the way, Dr. Yehonatan Elazar the Mota. They constituted a Bet Din, and they ruled, the Bet Din ruled that the Igbos are these lineal descendants of the biblical Israelites. And the Omenana Defenders, that's the group I am a part of, has held out its hands for so long. This hand we raised out, this arm we raised out, was a hand of fellowship to the Jewish community. I would say that Obadiah Alliance and some Jews have received this hand. We have information. I mean, we have information that most people in the world don't have about the Israelites. Why? Omenana is the Igbo religion. Omenana in the Igbo language. Omenana is the Igbo term for the Igbo religion. It means laws, religion you will do on the land. That is the only description for the religion of Israel in the Hebrew Bible. I believe that my friend, the Fulani guy, became satisfied. And I hope and pray that good will come out of this. That he will be in a position to tell kindred Arab peoples that Arab and Hebrew can live in peace. Thank you. For those of us that will fast, for members of the Israelite community that will fast, may your fast be easy. Thank you.